Recently I was over at my parents' house and I was in their kitchen, and in the kitchen I discovered this knife. This knife is actually very special to me because it belonged to my dedo Boris. I have a lot of really great memories of dedo. Here's a picture of dedo the year I got him a box of piperki for Christmas. He put those piperki to very, very good use. But I brought Dedo's knife home and I decided I'm going to spruce it up and put it to good use again. Now this knife is older than I am and it's seen better days, but we can definitely spruce it up. But it got me thinking. There's one thing I know about a lot of Macedonian kitchens. It's everybody's got a drawer full of old knives that really don't cut very well anymore, and all we kind of do is keep adding more and more knives to this. No one ever taught us how to sharpen a knife, or even if you should. When I was a kid, I had no idea you could sharpen a knife. I just thought you were supposed to buy like a really expensive knife and it would stay sharp forever. So I checked all the Macedonian YouTube pages, the books and all that stuff, and then they all talk about cooking, but nobody actually talks about kitchen maintenance. So that's what we're gonna do today. Today, I'm gonna show you the best way that I think how to sharpen your knife for your Macedonian kitchen. This is something so common with every Macedonian family I know, just drawers full of dull, unusable knives. And I'm no different. This is my knife drawer when I first started this channel. Now, this is my knife drawer. When I first started learning about cooking, the biggest thing everybody always kept saying is make sure your knife is good and sharp. Don't waste your time with dull knives because you'll be fighting your food trying to saw something when you want to be cutting it smoothly. So there's a couple of different ways you can sharpen your knife. One of the first ways that I tried was actually with this, the cutting stone. One side's rough, one side is smooth. Now the idea is you start with the rough side of your stone, you take your knife, and then you run it across it like this. Couple of times evenly on one side, then same thing on the other side. And then once you've done it all like that, you flip it over on your polishing side, and then you do the same thing. If you can get your knife sharp doing that, bravos, I love that, yeah. That is impressive because I have ruined a lot of knives doing this. It's just there's an angle thing. I've never been able to do it right. It's like, so we're not doing that. Instead, I'm gonna use this. It's called a pull-through knife sharpener. They call it that because you put your knife in there and you just pull it through. Now this particular one you can buy on Amazon for about $25, and I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. I'll show you how it works. It's actually pretty cool. Now this knife sharpener is really good because you can see this dial. As I move it, it moves the knife sharpening attachments wider and finer. The top of the dial has a bunch of different angles for your knives. How do you know which angle works for your knife? Good question. The side of the machine has all the different angles you need. For a fillet knife, 16 degrees. Asian style kitchen knives, another 16. Euro and American style knives, 20 degrees. How do you know what kind of knife you have? Simple, your knife will tell you. Here's a picture of the side of Dedo's knife. It says stainless USA, American style. Here's another one of my knives. Right here on the side, took another picture, made in Japan, Asian style. So we take our machine, and for Dedo's knife, it's American style, 20 degrees. So all I'm gonna do is adjust the dial to 20. Now that your angle is set, you're just gonna hold on to the handle, pick up Dedo's knife. The arrows tell you exactly which direction to pull. This side is for coarse and this side is for fine. So all I do is put the knife in and pull it through. About 10-15 times ought to do it. Now I just did 13 times on this side. I'm going to do another 13 on this side. Make sure they're equal. Now this middle section is actually for a serrated blade. That's something like this. I'm not going to sharpen that. Now that I sharpened up the knife on the machine, one last step, I'm going to use one of these rods. Now this rod doesn't actually sharpen your knife. What it does is kind of redirect your knife and keep it nice and straight. Here's a quick little video on somebody explaining it really, really well.
Now, contrary to popular belief, this knife steel doesn't actually sharpen a knife, it straightens up a knife edge. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a piece of aluminum foil. Now you can imagine that this is a knife edge right here. It's been used a fair amount, sort of bent over it on the side, because knife edges, after all, are very sharp and very thin. So what the steel does is it actually straightens this edge out. so that once again it can cut, which is fine if the edge is sharp to start with. If it's not, the steel really won't do you much good.
Now I see a lot of videos of people doing this super fast and stuff. That's cool, but there's really no need to do it. I like to do nice and slow, deliberate moves. Just pay attention to what you're doing. And all we're really doing is kind of taking off any little hairs that might be on that blade, anything sticking out, because we want this to be nice and smooth. Again, do this nice and slow. Okay, moment of truth for Dedo's knife. Let's see how we did. That seems pretty sharp to me. Now we can't just do the paper test, we have to do the dolma test. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we did. That is one sharp knife. Dedo would be proud. Guys, it cuts like a brand new knife. I absolutely love it. Dedo's happy, I'm happy. Do not waste your time with dull knives. Do yourself a favor, pick yourself up something like this, or if you have a knife sharpening place that you take your knives to, that's even better too. This is the simplest, easiest way that I've found to keep my knives good and sharp. I'll leave a link in the description so you can pick one up for yourself. That being said, my name is Nick Sadowski. This has been The Better Balkan.